What's up, everyone? It's Roger and Abe here for another episode of the DisKingdom podcast. And on this show, we are going to be going full spoilers on Deadpool. We're going to be giving our Deadpool review. So, hi, Abe.
Hey, how's it going? Chimichanga.
Chimichanga. And we're joined on this episode with Spencer, who did a review on the website as well that you'll find for Deadpool as well. So he's joining us. Chimichanga.
Hey, guys. I don't know how to do lower thirds, so chimichangas.
So in this episode, we are going to go into full thoughts on Deadpool, just giving full reviews. I think it's safe to say this one's going to be quite an interesting one because we've all seen it and I think we all loved it. So, Abe, I'm going to throw this one straight over. Your initial thoughts on Deadpool?
My initial thoughts, I got up and I did this. Well done. Very great movie. All I can say is, from start to finish, the way they told the story, the jokes. Ryan Reynolds finally got to play Deadpool just as he's always wanted to. It was great. By far, one of the best. I'm going to say it. It's the best Marvel movie outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's definitely. Yeah, I had to add that part, by the way. It's definitely the best one I've seen outside of it. In fact, I think Roger and I were mentioning this. Like, they could easily make it part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe if some miracle happened. However, because of the inclusion of the X-Men in this movie, it just separates it a little bit more. Anyways, regardless of the fact, awesome movie. The inside jokes, even him making fun of himself as an actor, or even him playing the Green Lantern. From the other sexual stuff going on, the jokes there, even from him imitating the very end, the end credit scene where he's imitating what was it, Ferris Bueller's Day Off or something?
Yeah.
Yes, that was just so good.
So many awesome things in this movie. Really enjoyed it. I give it totally 10 chimichangas. I mean, it was that great.
Yep, Spencer, you want to throw in some words on that one?
Yeah, and it's, well, God, I mean, I've only been spending all weekend thinking about this movie. It's so funny because I was really excited about Deadpool when I heard about it, and then as it kept going, I like Deadpool a lot, but I wouldn't say that I love what he's become over the past few years, because I feel like he's almost kind of become this wink wink nudge nudge internet meme machine that everyone just kind of gets a cheap joke out of, and I was like, I really want this movie to be a good comedy. I don't want to have groan worthy things like, hey Deadpool, what were you doing while not kicking ass and saving names today? It was I was watching Grumpy Cat. No, it's it was exactly what I wanted, and you know what? The moment I knew I was going to be happy with this movie was that opening credits where you see directed by some overpaid douche, and and it's so great because awesome. as I was watching it, it took a while for some people to notice it, because some people were looking around why is everyone laughing? Because we get to the point in these opening credits where we don't really look at the text anymore, and then only after, I think the one where everyone starts noticing is when you see the People's Magazine, you have Ryan Reynolds just says God's perfect name. I think it was God's perfect idiot or something, and it was just all these great lines ranging from writing the heroes, the real heroes of this movie for the writers and stuff like that.
I want a CGI character.
Yeah. It was just a perfect way to set the tone for the movie, and there's so much, and we're gonna get into it about what I really love about it, but the writing was amazing. The pacing was, for a superhero origin, surprisingly amazing. I never once felt I was oh my God, let's just get this over with. We get it. He has cancer. Let's go. To different things oh my God, the licensed songs were Guardians of the Galaxy level perfect. Different things like that. Mm-hmm. Seriously, my complaints for this are so small. I can, I have to, stop myself from praising it this much. That's how much I enjoy the movie. It's it is the definition of a movie that you are going to be hard-pressed to see and not leave the theater with a smile on your face, wanting to go back and see it again.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it's quite weird because me and my brother went to see it, and it was just, we were in fits of laughter the whole way through. He just come out and he it was that kind of thing of like, having a real just good. Actually, to be honest, the last time me and my brother went to see a movie together was Bruno. So that kind of shows
Oh, Roger, you've just gone up like 20 points in my book. I love that movie so much.
It's that kind of thing of like, we don't really kind of go, if we go into the cinema, it's that kind of thing of, we're going to go see a movie that our wives aren't going to like. It's that kind of thing of definitely, and I think we just come out and we were both laughing. It was a great movie in terms of, it was fun. It was adventure. It was, and I think that's the one thing with this movie that seems to be grabbing everyone is like, I think adults are having fun with it. I think it's that thing of, it's a movie aimed at adults, and it delivers comedy and violence and everything that we want. That's not this kiddified version that the Marvel Universe are giving us. It's not going to be the dark and broody DC Universe. It's something for us, the in-jokes. There were so many fantastic jokes, about the fact that he couldn't afford any more X-Men. The fact that Stan Lee was, was in a strip club. You had, the joke about the X-Men. What timeline are we in? These kind of things are just like. And I love the fight where he's taking on Colossus and he's there with his hands and it's just like it's just it, and the little hand and stuff. It felt so completely different from everything we have seen before, and I think it was so refreshing to have. Because I kind of remember a little bit like that when I watched Kick-Ass, where you had that violence and you're like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think having the comedy aspect in there as well, it just worked, and. I think this is a movie that is really, it's picked up a lot of, the marketing on it has been amazing to get people into it.
Which is crazy considering how small its overall budget was. I still even after looking at everything, the fact that movie, including marketing, is only $50 million boggles my mind.
You know what's funny, and Roger brought up a great point. Actually, you brought up something that kind of brings on to this point. You know how you said the last movie you saw with your brother was Bruno? Mm. This movie has a feeling like it's a Sasha movie. You know what I mean? It has that type of feeling. You have this vulgar, sexual, gruesome, funniness to it, but it's good. It's entertaining.
Oh, come on, Bruno was good too.
Well, I never said it wasn't. I'm saying
you literally were saying Deadpool is Bruno ... but good.
well, it is. But anyway, one of the greatest things, and Roger also tapped into it. What I loved about this movie too is that not only was this a movie, but they were also the way he was narrating it. It's like he's acknowledging that this is a movie. He's talking to the public. He's talking to the camera, and he's making jokes about the fact that it's a movie, about the studio and their budget and all these different things. He's making fun of himself playing the Green Lantern, saying if you're going to give me a superhero suit, don't make it green and animated. He's making fun of his real life, and he's making fun of the studio, and he's making fun of the fact that it is a movie that they're in, even though the X-Men are in it. It's supposed to be serious, and it's a world that's going on, this universe that they have. Yet it just had a little bit of everything that you would want in a movie, your ideal movie, as far as you have your blood, you have your action, you have your jokes, you have your sexual innuendos, all that stuff. You had a little bit of everything in this movie, and I honestly I applaud Ryan Reynolds for fighting for this thing, because he totally made it awesome. I think it was by far probably I think it's by far the best movie he's ever made. He's
out of a list of less than 5 good movies, yeah, it's really hard to get on that list. When Ryan Reynolds makes fun of his own movies that much.
You know what? I watched Voices last week with him in as well, and I'm going, this is I can see I've been a big fan of his ever since he was in that pizza show and with Van Wilder and all that kind of stuff. So
Roger, thank you for bringing that up. That actually reminds me, I was talking about this to somebody and I had to hold myself back from bringing it up because Van Wilder is such a deep cut. I had to take that out of my review because I was like, I remember when I saw Van Wilder a couple of years ago. I've seen multiple times because that's always on Comedy Central over here in the States. Van Wilder is basically the audition tape for Deadpool. Like, because that is just Wade Wilson. You're not killing anyone. That snarkiness, that comeback, the dry humor, it is like Van Wilder might as well his alter ego be Wade Wilson.
I think that that's more about. Yeah, I was going to say that's Ryan Reynolds, isn't it? Okay.
No. Go ahead, Roger. Go ahead. I was just saying because Wade is Ben Wilder, but yeah, now that he graduated college, now he's Wade. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
I think it's just Ryan Reynolds. He has that kind of that is his wit. That's his. I've always liked his stuff anyway. I've always been a big fan of his comedy stuff because I think he has got that sarcastic kind of tone and the way he does stuff. And I think Deadpool worked with that. And I think. That was the kid. I have one minor criticism with the whole of Deadpool, and that was the villain. He was weak.
You know what? I don't really get that complaint. That's been popping up a lot, and I find it weird that people have been complaining so much about Ajax. Not for all the listeners that haven't seen the movie. The villain, not the soap.
That's why I was laughing. I was laughing because of like, he spelled Francis out with the dead guys. I mean, he makes fun of his name the whole time.
That's the thing. Is Roger, I totally see what you mean about him being a very just stereotypical by the numbers and bland villain. If it wasn't for the fact that the way he plays off Deadpool so well, like their repertoire with everybody, like the whole everyone's repertoire with each other in the movie is just so like they just have such a good energy about them. Like, yes, his character's dumb, and hence why he makes fun of his character for being so dumb and snarky and stud up all the time. The fact that his real name was also Francis, that he could then make fun of all the time, made it even better.
I just love the fact that it was just it was a stereotypical British villain. And even in the beginning credits, it was just like, oh really, that's all we ever get, is we get villains. Everyone would just think England is evil.
I was gonna say one thing, and this is my opinion in regards to Francis, aka Ajax. The reason why it didn't bother me to the point that he wasn't, he was a weak villain. Let's put that out there. But this is why it didn't bother me, because this entire movie, which is why I love it, by the way, this entire movie was about Deadpool. The focus of this entire movie is Deadpool. I mean, you see Francis in earlier scenes, and when he's becoming this guy who's getting his cancer healed, you see him earlier when he gets the freaking, he's stuck on the side of the road, like he's about to kill him, and then Colossus comes out and just stops him. Like, it's like this whole movie was about Deadpool, and even though Francis seemed more like a side character and like he was like a weak villain, it didn't really, I didn't think twice about it, because it was all Deadpool. This whole movie was Deadpool, and that's what I loved about it. So
it's funny you bring that up. That's actually my only complaint with the movie, is not that it's only about Deadpool, is that the supporting characters, like mainly Weasel, his roommate, and even for some stuff like his girlfriend, and I'm so bad, I don't remember the taxi driver's name. Like, those four characters, every scene they were in, they were so funny, and they all played off Deadpool so well. I almost wanted to just reach through the screen and just be like, please just throw in 3 more scenes of talking, just because especially with Weasel, because T.J. Miller, I really really liked his sort of comedy, and I think it fit that character so well.
I'm gonna be honest, I'd only ever seen him in Transformers. I didn't really know who he was.
He does very actually, I guess he's been doing a lot more stuff recently. I think his first big movie he ever did was, I think he was either the camera guy or the camera guy's friend in Cloverfield. That was the first thing I ever saw him in.
Oh, that's right. That's true. I remember that.
It's definitely. I think that was. There was so much humor. I mean, I did think that female villain, she did actually come across. I thought she was quite a solid villain, because not only was she kicking ass, but I mean when she was doing that fight scene with the X-Men, that seemed to work well. I thought and I love the interaction with her and Colossus when he's like, oh
yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
And I think Colossus just came across as a really he was a bit lost in the X-Men movie, because for me, I always remember playing the 80s video game. I always used to play as Colossus, so I've always had this kind of connection. I've always kind of liked that character, and I think the other X-Men movies never really kind of did anything with him. He was so plain and so straight, but it worked. Him scrunched up in the car, because he should be able to flick between normal and that. They never really bothered doing that, but it definitely seemed to. I thought Colossus and Neosonic War Machine Warhead, whatever her name is, that seemed to work. That connection with those X-Men also seemed to work very well.
Yeah.
How sad is it that the lowest budget X-Men movie, that wasn't even an X-Men movie, has the best looking Colossus out of like all 5 of them?
Yeah, that's true. As far as the female villain though, like I honestly I didn't see not that much special in her other than the fact that she can hit hard. Like I honestly was waiting for I was hoping that what's her name, Michelle Rodriguez would come out and they would take off in fast cars. Because I mean, all I can think about was Fast and the Furious 6. Yeah, where they're brawling out. It's the same chick from that same movie. So yeah, I don't know. She was cool. I mean, yeah, I think the boob part was the best part, but that's about it.
I just think, just in general, I think that was she was a good sort of. I think it helped having the two villains together. I think it worked having the two of them kind of doing that. I think that worked to that point of. It helped set up that there was a little bit more threat by having this super-powered mutant as well. I just think in general the two of them worked a lot better. I think if it was just Ajax on his own, he needed her with him to kind of boost him up.
Well, Wade needed that match, so there was no way he was going to get out of there without that match. So, that was her thing. She always had a match in her mouth. So, it makes sense. You needed her in there.
No, I think it's this kind of thing of, I mean, Deadpool managed to beat out Man of Steel. The original Spider-Man has even took more than, these are big men. It's like the thing of like, I know now are the studios going to be looking at us going, well, maybe we can take a little bit more risks, or I don't know if it's just, if they tried doing this with any other character, I don't think it would have worked. Deadpool worked as an R-rated, and I think that's the difference.
Well, here's the thing.
And it's not even the fact that it works. Like, I think, because we were talking about this a little bit, they've been trying to make this film for so long, and I think when they've talked about this, one of the best points they bring up is this film couldn't work any better than it does right here, right now. Like, Deadpool right now, the way the jokes work and the way it's like been set up, even the way it's been advertised, is like, this is not your like average superhero movie. If this came out in 2008 along with Iron Man, we'd be like, okay, so what? Superhero movies are really bad. Why do I care about this kind of like jokes and stuff?
Well, here's the thing about Deadpool is that, like, if he was made based off of his like original like appearance in the comic book, so like he's evolved into this character we know and love today. I mean, before, he wasn't this silly, he wasn't this vulgar and funny and all that stuff. Like, it's a different character up until what we have now, and it works. And because of the way he is, this movie works. And like what you're saying, Roger, like you can't make a Thor movie and make it rated R. It just will not work. You can't have that type of violence and blood and all that, even jokes. It doesn't work. Deadpool is definitely perfect for this type of movie. And that's the only way it's going to work. As far as tying it into when they finally do an X-Force movie or whatnot, who's going to suffer? Is the X-Men movie going to suffer by becoming more vulgar, or is Deadpool going to suffer by being toned down? That's the thing. So, anyways, regardless of the fact, we're talking about Deadpool here. This movie is perfect. I loved it. Would I change anything about it? Yes, I'd probably make it an hour longer.
I had that same. I remember when I was watching The Force Awakens, and there was they finally landed on the planet with Luke, and I just remember going. I remember that same feeling of in Deadpool going. Are we getting to the end? I want a little bit longer. I wasn't ready for it to end, and I think that was, and I think that's sometimes a good thing. I don't have that very often where you're in a movie and go, I actually could quite happily have this go on a little bit longer, and you don't get. And I think that, like you said, the pacing on that movie worked. It just seemed it flowed, and I think. But I also think the thing with that budget being so small, they crafted it more. It was a love project. It was something they wanted to do. But also, when you say about marketing, it's funny you say about marketing because so much of that marketing was online. So essentially, the costs are there, and they literally just put a camera on to Ryan Reynolds in that suit, and that's all he has to do, and he just has to be himself, and it's cheap. And I think that was the difference. They can't get Thor and Iron Man to do those cheap. Like look at the Coke advert. But put Ryan Reynolds in a suit with a Australian hat on, and suddenly he's got a new trailer with 5-10 million people watching.
Well, you know what's funny? It's funny that you say that. That was mostly online. I think they bought I think it was like 3 different billboards with the same advertisement that showed the emoticons, the dead guy, and then they had the little poop sign and everything like that. They only did a few of those, and it spread like wildfire online. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have to spend all this money, put it all over the place. The fact is, like you said, everything is all mass media now. Everything gets spread that way. And yeah, you're right. The marketing was genius, and it was all done online. So.
I was walking to work the other day, and a big red double-decker bus went by, and on the back, on the side, was Deadpool with his the. And I was just
like where it's like showing his butt, and he has him in the backpack like a little schoolgirl.
It was just like this big red double-decker bus goes by with it on going. Yeah, that worked. But like you said, that thing with the banners, that one with the fact of doing the romantic one with the two of them, like this is just a romantic movie. They might have only had the one billboard and took pictures of it, and like you say, it went global. I think they've been masters of social media. They have been, and that is what's made this movie. And I think it made the hype. It worked because they were working their butt off to get this movie out there, and different ways of doing it, doing the trailers, doing the teasers, the 12 Days of Deadpool. They marketed it perfectly. It wouldn't work for every other movie because you wouldn't do it, but he worked it. Him going at Halloween and like with those little kids on the stool. It's because it can be done cheap. And I think that's what works by not having him in a massive suit which needs lots of CGI. It can be done cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
There is one thing I wanted to ask you guys. At least like kind of like major thing about the movie. How did you guys feel about how they handled Vanessa and Wade's like story? I really liked how, because it was funny because I remember I'd seen all those pictures of Vanessa, but when she first comes in. I knew nothing about the character, and she was so different looking than how she looked like later on in the movie that they'd shown in trailers. I remember I saw her, and I was just like, who is this just like random like bar prostitute? And then you end up finding out like, oh, like as like their date like can kind of like continues on. Like I like how I say date. It was like he basically bought her to play skee ball, and then they had sex. But what was so great about it was even though it was a montage of them playing skee ball for 10 minutes. Talking about Voltron and then having sex for like another 10 minutes, it was so nice because it was just like it summed up that character and what like those two like weird chemistry they had together, and like it was one of those few situations at a superhero like love story moment, almost like I even felt like a superhero movie did a good love story since the Amazing Spider-Man movies, as much like crap as those get. It just felt real, and like, which is so funny to say in a comic book movie, but it felt like a real, even though very messed up, relationship. Like, what did you guys think?
Wait, hold on. What was the question? Because you asked something and then you answered yourself.
I was giving my 2 cents. Was like, how did you guys feel about like their relationship, like when they were kind of like introducing Vanessa's character, and then like up all the way up until it gets canceled, like those like few little scenes.
I honestly like the way they did it because I feel like they both kind of grew, like they both evolved. Like she went from her profession to, becoming a little bit more. Cleaner. She was more. Her hair was in a nicer way. She was taking care of herself a little bit more. She didn't seem like the way Hollywood makes a prostitute look type of, the way they make them look per se. But I feel like they the characters grew together, and so did she. She became cleaner. He became less like violent to go beat up young pizza guys and stuff like that and kill people. Like he basically, they both grew together, and this character was great to the point to where you see her like this was about their relationship. Like when he gets diagnosed, she wants to do anything to make sure he's okay. And not to mention, she gets really upset when he leaves and he comes back. Like, you see how pissed off she is. So no, I like the way she was portrayed. I think it was the great way to introduce her. Like you said, the skee ball game was awesome because it's kind of like shows you his character per se. And no, they grew together. It was great. I wouldn't change a thing. What about you, Roger?
They definitely kind of brought them together, and the montage, kind of the whole thing of them getting together, it showed, like you said, them both getting better, becoming better people because of each other. And, he's, doing good jobs instead of killing people, and her doing the same kind of thing. She wasn't just, because sometimes with these movies, the girl kind of becomes the major prop up for the story, but you don't really really give a damn whether or not they're together or not, because it's just propped up in the corner. This felt like they did a good job in why he was doing what he was doing. What he wanted to get back, he wanted to get his face back to go back to her, and it made sense because of, like you say, you knew that he loved her, and I think they did a great job of that. And they, in such a short bit of time, I mean, to be honest, they could have taken the sex scene out, and it wouldn't have really have been needed to be in there. It would have. I still think it would have, as a montage of them together. It just told it. It was just there for the sake of being there, to be an R-rated. It just kind of, I don't know. I think it definitely. She was definitely a much more interesting, like, love interest than Jane Foster in 4. What bland, boring, just plain. I didn't care. I didn't care about her. She just did not interest me at all in that movie because she was so vanilla. She was just, she can't even be bothered to turn up in the other movies. There was no interest in her being there. Pepper Potts. Never really kind of, that didn't have that same feel that, you could tell he loved her. When I don't think the other ones, Iron Man, well, whatever, Pepper's been taken away in Iron Man 3. It never really felt like he wanted. It was. I think they just did a better job of telling that love story.
Mm-hmm. Plus, that Lent joke was killer.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, I missed it. Okay.
There were so many jokes. I think it's quite easy to miss stuff.
That's why you got to see it a second time, maybe. You don't miss that way. You won't miss the Lynch joke.
I miss what you said.
Well, anyway, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of pretty much just wrap this up into. We're going to just give our kind of final thoughts on Deadpool to kind of close up this episode. So I'm going to throw this one over to Spencer first. What was your final thoughts on this one?
Final thoughts was way better than what I was going and hoping for, is like just a good throwaway movie experience. Now I'm coming out of that movie, A, wanting to see it again, B, recommending it to people, and C, now waiting hand over foot for any sort of news for Deadpool 2, which is going to happen, which is going to be better because the whole cast and crew is already signed up. They've already been working on a script. And I mean, if that after credits sequence doesn't sell you on that movie, you seriously have a problem. Or you either didn't see Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and then there's 2 problems in your life. But that's, either way, see it. It's amazing. Buy it on Blu-ray, preferably the Steelbook. That's all I have to say.
Abe?
Originally, this movie was like an afterthought. I wasn't like crazy about seeing it. I knew I wanted to see it at some point, but I didn't really, care much. The hype started going. All the things, all the media, all the things that happened started getting me excited for it. And I went into it really excited, really hyped up, and it totally lived up to the hype. I think it not only met my expectations, I thought it kind of just blew it out of the park. I'm very excited for possibly seeing it again, and definitely looking forward to what's to come. I mean, they're already talking about a sequel. They're already talking about casting Cable. I mean, they're already talking about, even Ryan Reynolds wants to do an X-Force movie. I mean, maybe they'll afford more X-Men. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless.
4 X-Men this time.
Yeah, so definitely loved it. Go watch it. Yeah, and I'm happy for Ryan Reynolds. It was a good movie.
Definitely, for me, it exceeded my expectations. I think I definitely came out enjoying it. I mean, I think I was always going to enjoy it beforehand because I like Deadpool. I was playing the video game, enjoyed that, read some of the comics, stuff. So I knew I was going to like it, and I like Ryan Reynolds. But I think I came out going, this was fun. I loved watching it. I can't wait for it to come out on Blu-ray to watch it again. It had something special. I think it's a unique movie for a generation of superhero fans. I think now, we're 10, 20 years into superhero movies of kind of, we've gone through so many stages that it's nice to take a break and do something different. We have got so much coming up this year, and we've had so many movies. It was nice to go feel something fresh and unique and different. And I think that's one thing. If you're a superhero fan and you're into Marvel, go see it. It's not for kids. And when people are out talking about taking kids and kids being at the event, it's not for kids. But why can't us adults have something that we enjoy? Why it's not everything is about for younger kids? This is the thing. It's not. That's what I loved. I loved having something that was for us.
Wait, can I add one quick thing to that? Please, if you have kids, do not. And I'm gonna say it again: do not take them. Not because we don't want you guys to ruin it or start saying these negative things online about it. I'm only telling you this because A, this movie is not for kids. B, it's rated R, so you should know it's not for kids. And C, I went to the movie theater, and to my right, a family of 5 came in. 3 of them were kids. Mom and Dad were going and covering little kids a lot. So do not, and I'm going to say it again, do not bring your kids. You may love superheroes, they might love them too, but seriously, take a break, leave them with grandma, pay the babysitter, go see it by yourself.
It's kind of funny because it's a 15 over here, it's not an 18, which shows you kind of how tame, really, because it's only a 15 certificate. But in the UK, the cinema wouldn't let a kid in, even if you were with the parents. It's not a 12, it's not a 12A, this is, if you were under 15, you can't get in. So that was, I don't know, I thought R-rated in the US.
I wish I did that out here.
I thought R-rated, I thought the kids couldn't go to see it.
If a parent comes, they have their permission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, kind of going off what Abe said, you know what? I was at a Barnes & Noble after I saw this movie, and there was a Deadpool, I kid you not, there's a Deadpool coloring book. But I will give them this, the very bottom, they said, not for kids. I've never in my entire existence seen a coloring book that says, this is not for kids. And as I'm going through this, I'm like, oof, I would not want to color this at the age of 7. And I'm like, if a coloring book is real enough to tell you that, the movie is definitely not something you should see as a kid. Just wait till you're ready for it.
Yeah. I think that's the general thing, and I think anyone that does it goes and if you're taking your kids or you're doing anything like that, that shows how little that concept of having these ratings and stuff, and not really maybe doing your research and just kind of blending in. It's not like movies have not had cinema ratings for a while, or video games, and stuff like that. They're on there for a reason. But that's at the end of the day, this is for adults. This is what we wanted. This is what we got, and we loved it. And why shouldn't we have it? Not everything should have to be a U-rated, nice, friendly. And I think that's the way I look at it. Is it was nice to have something different.
Absolutely, I agree. It felt completely different. It was very refreshing, regardless of the fact of the content of the movie. It was refreshing in the sense that it was new, something we hadn't experienced before. I almost had a feeling like I did when I left Guardians of the Galaxy, because it just felt different. It was something new. So definitely great. And I just want to stress it again. Parents, I know you don't like to be told how to be a parent. Swallow your pride. Leave your kids at home. Thank you.
Right, on that note, we are going to leave it on here. Comment below in the comments below what you guys thought of the things, what you thought of the movie. I'd love to know your thoughts on it as well. If you're on iTunes as well, give us a review. If you're on, and you can subscribe there. If you're on YouTube as well, you can hit that subscribe button. And also remember to check us out at DisKingdom.com and on Twitter and Facebook. And also you can join in the discussion on our DisKingdom Lounge Facebook group as well, with lots of discussion. I think we can definitely get into the spoiler zone on that now. And finally, just big thank you to Ethan over at sortedapps.com and Magic Band Collectors for being this month's sponsor, and to all of our other patrons. Patreon users do tend to get access to these episodes a little bit earlier than everybody else. Big thank you to A for joining me as usual.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, guys. Gotta go. It smells like my chimichangas are burning.
And big thank you to Spencer as well for joining us on this episode. Thought it'd be quite cool because he's doing the review up on the website, so it'd be cool to kind of get your thoughts as well. So big thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, and thank you all for listening to our ramblings for the past God knows how long.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you guys in the next episode. Laters.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Chimichangas rule!